7. Barrett outside the switch. Doncic goes over. And then he hammers it home. Broke his ankles.
What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. I hope you guys are doing well, and I have a pretty interesting topic, at least in my opinion, and it's a pretty loaded question because we're going to be talking about Tom Thibodeau, we're going to be talking about the young players, and Tom Thibodeau doesn't really have this pedigree or have this proof or history of really developing the young guys or playing the young guys, because it's a pretty loaded question. And I'm not saying Tom Thibodeau has changed his ways, but is Tom Thibodeau looking towards the future? Is he looking to develop these young guys? Is he looking to play these young guys in general, not even develop them? Obviously, playing them and developing them, like, they're two totally different things. You could play the young guys, but then you could just like not hold them accountable and not play them throughout their strengths at all. And then there's a part of it like you put them out there on the basketball floor. Yes, you're relating to the players, but you're also holding them accountable. You're just really helping them refine their game and just get better as a basketball player. So they're two totally different things, because we saw that with the David Thibodeau. He played the young guys, but he didn't hold them accountable. He just let them make mistakes, and there was just no progress when it came to just making adjustments or putting guys in a position to be successful. It looked like a damn YMCA team. It just looked like a total mess. And again, it's a loaded question because he doesn't have the history of playing these young guys consistently, or just really developing the young guys, looking towards the future. Tom Thibodeau is known as a present guy. Like, what's going on with this team right now? I'm going to try to put the team in the position to be successful right now, like trying to win games that way. And I'm not saying Tom Thibodeau has changed. And who knows if Tom Thibodeau is the key reason the young guys have been playing lately. Maybe it is Leon Rose. Yes, Thibodeau at the end of the day puts these guys in the basketball game. That's his decision. And but also Leon Rose may be like, apparently you loved McBride, but he's getting DNPs like crazy. Just the amount of times I've gotten notifications that he's called up from the G League McBride, set back down, called up, set back down. That just messes with a kid's confidence so much, and I really felt bad for Miles McBride. I'm not saying he's going to be our future point guard moving forward, but it looks like a lost season. It looks like we're not making the playoffs, or we're not making the playoffs. We may make the play, and it's crazy that we're only 4 games back from the Atlanta Hawks, but there's no identity. This team just looks like a total mess. So maybe they were like, you know what, Leon Rose is like, I'm putting my foot down, looks like we're not going anywhere, play the damn young guys. And it's been happening lately, and I'm not asking, like, when I wanted the young guys to play, like, I'm a huge guy, like, a huge fan of not just present winning, like, obviously I want present winning, but I've been a fan of the Knicks for a good amount of time. I'm only 17 years old, though. Like, when I've watched the Knicks, though, back in the 2013 season, it was awesome. We made it to the playoffs, but I'm like, what's the longevity here? We don't have any young up-and-coming stars. I'm like, yeah, we may be good for another year, but there's no consistency. So I want to see the young guys play. I want to see what we have moving forward. Is there a consistent winner here? Because at the end of the day, I want a consistent winner. I want to be able to compete now, and just win in the future, and make our team better. But maybe it was Leon Rose's decision, like, play the young guys. And the young guys have been playing lately. They have been getting an opportunity. But again, there's a totally different thing of playing young guys but there's a totally different thing, like playing the young guys and then putting them in the position to be successful and really developing them. And there's not a huge sample size for like a guy of McBride. He's been getting minutes lately, but not like crazy. So we're going to be breaking it down here because we know Jericho Sims, DNPs like crazy, McBride, DNPs like crazy throughout the season. We trade a first-round draft pick for Reddish. He doesn't play at all. He had DNPs. You could say one of the main reasons Reddish was playing, like at one point, was because of RJ was hurt, but now Grimes is hurt. So is he only playing because those guys are hurt? It's going to be a true test for Tom Thibodeau if he continues to play Reddish when these guys come back from injuries, or when a guy of Grimes comes back from his injury. If it's this season, hopefully it is this season, but no need to rush him back at all. So we'll see how Tibbs adjusts the rotation and if he's smart, because when you trade a first-round pick, when you trade Kevin Knox, who's not a great player, but you still invested a 9th overall pick in him. So, like, someone you selected with the 9th overall pick, you were high on at one point. Like, Scott Perry's still a part of the organization. That's still high value in your eyes because you thought Knox was going to be good. A first rounder, you want those first rounders moving forward. I know it's not like a very valuable first rounder. Like, it's heavily protected. But you trade for Cam Reddish, 10th overall pick, a lot of talent coming out of Duke. Raw, he doesn't play. And McBride, apparently he was your guy, didn't play him. Sims, different story, 58th overall pick. But I'm going to give credit to Tibbs, though. Like, Grimes, he's been getting, yes, he didn't get minutes at the beginning of the season, but he's consistently given Grimes minutes when he was healthy. And he's been playing good basketball. So, obviously, he freaking loves Quentin Grimes. But to start off with Jericho Sims, like, the last 6 games, he has gotten good minutes. Like, Mitchell Robinson's healthy. Taj Gibson, he did have an illness for, like, 1 game or 2 games, and he was available last night, Taj Gibson. He came in and provided a good spark. Deflections, played very well, played disciplined. It was the key reason we came back from 20 points versus the Sacramento Kings, but he wasn't the first big off the bench. It was Jericho Sims. So, like, if this was the past, Taj Gibson would have been the second big man or the first big man coming off the bench, but Jericho Sims actually was. Sims did struggle last night. He did. His positioning wasn't great. He still, like, sometimes overcommits on the guy dribble penetrating and doesn't have a good awareness of the guy going and getting the lob or the guy rolling to the basket. But he barely plays. It's all about the learning process. But you look at Sims. He had 11 minutes last night. The game before, he had 20 minutes, which I thought he played very well versus the Clippers. And he's a pretty versatile guy. We're going to be getting into that. But he had, on the defense side of the basketball, he had 11 minutes the game before, 13 minutes, 18 minutes, and 18 minutes. And I'm not asking Sims to start. It's just not realistic, and he shouldn't be starting. But you're letting him grow. You're actually letting him play throughout his mistakes, and hopefully he is being held accountable. Tibbs, I know sometimes, for example, he'll hold an RJ accountable, but won't hold a Randall accountable. So sometimes it isn't equal. You could say the same thing with Burks. Jericho Sims, yes, he looks uncomfortable if he's not. If he's farther than 2 feet away from the basket, yeah, Jericho Sims is absolutely lost. He doesn't have the best of feel for the game. He played 4 years of collegiate basketball. There was a reason he went 58th, overall, because he didn't really improve in a big-time area throughout those 4 years of basketball. But then you take a look at the other part of it, though. Yes, he's older. He played 4 years of collegiate basketball at Texas, but he's very raw, when it comes to his athleticism. His athleticism is off the charts. He's a great roller to the basket. His head's above the rim. He sets hard screens. He's very physical. He does a great job rebounding the ball. He's strong. This is a very strong dude, and he's shown, obviously, he could block shots. Yes, his awareness needs to get better, where to be out there on the floor sometimes, but that comes with experience, and he seems like this quiet guy, but you see the confidence out of him as well when Duncan Robinson told that story and all that.
We're up big. Jericho Sims checks in the game late. And after sitting for 44 minutes, catches a crazy lob dunk. And I'm sitting on the bench. Max Strus is in the game. He goes out, or maybe he got fouled trying to catch a lob. It was something ridiculous. Whereas this dude was just sitting on the bench for 44 minutes and just came and just looked like he was jumping on a trampoline. That's ridiculous. Anyways, Jericho Sims is at the free throw line and says to Max Strus, Max made a comment about dude, chill out or something like that, bounce is crazy, whatever. And Jericho Sims says ask your boy over there about my bounce, referencing me on the bench. And Max comes up to me after the game and is like, dude, what is Jericho talking about, saying that he dunked on you? And then I had to relive that moment once again. I had to show Max Jericho dunking on me.
But he has the capability of defending outside on the perimeter. He has shown that. But I just love the energy he brings on the boards. He plays extremely hard. And if we wouldn't know what Sims is if we didn't play him. Sims isn't some future star. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying he's some future 6-man of the year coming off the bench. But he has shown that he could bring valuable minutes to the ball club because we've actually played him and we see what he is. See what happens when you play your young guys. You see what someone could potentially be. Maybe he could be a solid third string center. Maybe he could be a solid second string center. At the 58th overall pick, most guys that are taken 58th overall, or even with the 50th pick, they don't make the team. They just end up in the G League. And he's managing to get some very solid minutes with the New York Knicks. The Clippers game was the best, rolling to the basket, rebounding well. I thought, in my opinion, we're putting him in the position to be successful on both ends of the floor. We're simplifying his role. We know he's kind of this old school big. He struggles from the free throw line, doesn't have the best of touch. But for the 58th overall pick, I've liked what I've seen from Jericho Sims. You move on to Cam Reddish. I mentioned the whole, we trade a first round pick, we trade Kevin Knox, we don't even trade Reddish. But there's that logjam, of course. Like, we're stuck in a very weird position. Like, all right, Grimes starting to get minutes. You have Fournier. Like, we already know the bench doesn't play like crazy. Like, is Cam Reddish gonna get minutes? Like, you could be a freaking superstar, and Tom Thibodeau will be like, nope, you still have to earn your minutes. We know Tom Thibodeau's really like that. He's very strict like that. But Cam Reddish has been playing lately. He played 16 minutes this past game versus the Sacramento Kings. He would have probably played close to 30 minutes or 25 minutes if he didn't get hurt in that third quarter. He actually ended up hitting his head. Hopefully it's a speedy recovery. I'm not sure the update on him. But he played 16 minutes, thought he played solid defense, didn't score like crazy. He missed a couple gimmies in transition, even though you could say maybe that was good hustle by the Kings getting back on D. Played 25 minutes versus the Clippers. He had 17 points. He was a huge reason we went on that 10-0 run in the fourth quarter when it looked like they were kind of coming back after being up like a lot of points. I believe we were up 26 points at one point in that game. But he provided good defense. And what I love about Reddish is that he brings a different element. I feel like we don't have shot creators. We don't have, or at least we don't have a lot of shot creators. You need more when it comes to, if you're going to be in the playoffs again. If you're, just in general, you need guys that are able to create for you. And he brings athleticism. He brings dribble penetration. He brings shooting off the dribble. Great touch from the free throw line. He's shooting a career-high 90% from the free throw line. I like his defense. He doesn't need to get better reading the floor, but he just brings some, like, he's acrobatic around the rim. So we didn't give up a lot for him. That first-round pick's not really the best, but Reddish starting to get minutes lately. Like 25 minutes versus the Clippers, 14 minutes before that, 23 minutes, 17 minutes, 16 minutes. And Reddish, even if he doesn't end up being a starter, he could be a glue guy. We'll see if he ends up being a starter in the future, but he's starting to get minutes. But you could also say he's the definition of getting minutes, but we're kind of not developing him at the same time in a way, because there's just so many examples of him just standing in the corner, not cutting, like us not playing him throughout his strengths. And the Phoenix Suns game is a perfect example as well. Reddish is the key reason we're up. Like defensive rebound, steal, getting a bucket, making a good pass, assist. He just played a very good basketball game versus the Phoenix Suns. If you watched that game, if you didn't pay attention to the stats, you just watched, you were like, damn, he's the main reason we're up versus the Phoenix Suns. Eventually, we lost on the Cam Johnson buzzer beater. But after Reddish provided us with great minutes, did a great job, we put Fournier in, it goes all downhill. So that's an example, just not playing Reddish throughout his strengths and not, like, yes, we gave him minutes, but we didn't, like, give him minutes when it mattered most at the end. Like, you have to utilize him in the right way. But yeah, 17 minutes and 16 minutes. So Reddish has gotten some action. Then you take a look at Miles McBride. Miles McBride, a lot of Knicks fans are huge fans of him. Like, he's dropping 40 points per game in the G League. Like I said, he's had to really overcome some adversity. Like, this was Tibbs' guy. He loves his defense. Like, just he's a gamer. You could look at him as a true point guard. You could look at him as an off guard. But he's just not afraid. That's what we love about McBride. He's a defensive menace. He's a gamer. He's a competitor. I'm not sure what his offensive ceiling is. There's been games that we play him off the ball. Then there's games we saw him bring up the ball last night, which was pretty cool. So we saw Tibbs give him an opportunity to bring up the ball. I didn't like how, I don't know what the sets were. I don't know the playbook. But he was just very outside on the perimeter when he would bring the ball up. And he didn't look to attack at times. I wanted to see him attack more and be more aggressive. But he made key defensive plays in that fourth quarter versus the Sacramento Kings. His defense was amazing. He was just hounding guards. Like, he did a great job. He's an underrated passer of the basketball. He hasn't scored much, but he was literally getting DNPs. But last night, he had 20 minutes. And the game before, he ended up having 18 minutes versus the Clippers. So he's starting to get action. We'll see if it continues, though. We'll see if this continues. It's going to be interesting if Derrick Rose, actually, no, he's pretty much done for the season. I don't see him coming back. But like I mentioned, it's going to be interesting when a Grimes comes back. Is Reddish going to go back to these DNPs or playing these 5 minutes per game? And McBride, I felt he was treated very unfairly when right before a half, he would come in for like a minute, and then like we wouldn't see him the rest of the game. I just really felt bad for him because I'm like, we put McBride in for a minute? Like, are you freaking kidding me? Or like the last 30 seconds. Obi Toppin, we're going to talk about him. Obi Toppin was getting a good amount of minutes when he was playing good basketball. Then he gets the virus. There was that stretch that players were playing good basketball, they get the virus, and it just sucked. So Obi kind of got out of rhythm. His minutes dropped. You could say there's a mistreatment, like Randall not playing the best basketball. You see Obi progressing, not getting minutes. But this is my thing with Obi. Obi, yes, he deserves more minutes, but there's a reason Tibbs isn't playing them. First off, Tibbs is stubborn. Second off, Obi's not versatile as an offensive player. Like, he's not a good shooter. He's someone that needs to constantly be running, cutting to the basket. He has no post-up game. It's hard to utilize Obi in the offense when you play a very slow type of offense. You need these kids to get out and run. But it doesn't help when you have them stand in the corner and not really utilize them in the right way. But when he's running, when they're playing him throughout his strengths, Obi Toppin's a solid basketball player. I'm not saying he's a future star or anything like that, but we've seen Obi get opportunities. It's just he doesn't fit the offense, and I wouldn't be surprised if he's traded. And I like Obi. He's a likable dude. It was his birthday the other day, and it sucked. He couldn't even play on his birthday because he had an injury. But Thibodeau's starting to play the young guys. But again, there's a difference of playing them and playing them throughout their strengths. And Reddish is a key example of that. Obi's a key example of that. But do you think it was Leon Rose's idea, like telling Tom Thibodeau, just play the young guys? It might be a lost season, but it's crazy that we're only 4 games out of like tying the Atlanta Hawks. And I want to make, yes, it's awesome to win basketball games, but if we're going to win games, I want it to be with the young guys that are actually going to be here moving forward. Because what does that do, making the plan with Fournier playing well, with just some guys that aren't going to be here playing well? It's just like, because at the end of the day, if you like it or not, I'm not saying the tank, but we need young talent. We need young talent to put alongside an RJ Barrett for the future, and it's going to trick the organization into thinking we're better than we really are, and it's going to trick the front office, like, we make the plan or close to the playoffs, or we make the playoffs out of the plan. It's like, oh, Thibodeau's still that guy, when there's still glaring issues with Tom Thibodeau, and they might hold on to him. But let me know down below your thoughts. I really appreciate your support. You guys are amazing. Like, comment, subscribe. Peace out, y'all.